Imagine you had a secret gadget, all right, a device that you have developed and it's stored very carefully in your cupboard. And each time you go near that secret gadget or device, it can help you travel very, very far away. So far away that you can even go into any corner of the universe. You can go to any planet, you can go to any comet, you can go near any star, no matter how hot it is. That's the kind of magical adventure this book we are reviewing today is all about. Hi there, you're listening to What's New Today. This is a kids podcast, and this episode is about the book George's Secret Key to the Universe. This book review is led by my good friend Manisha Maheshwari, and I've got four young, eager book reviewers. Can I request the four young, eager book reviewers to first introduce yourselves? We usually go with what? Alphabetical order, right?
My name is Devansh. I study in class 5 and I live in Kolkata.
Hey there, my name is Nayra Maheshwari. I'm a fourth grader from Mumbai, India, and I'm now going to turn 10 years old in say 1.5 months, and I'm really excited for that. And I am an avid reader.
Hi, I am Prakriti and I am in class 5. I live in Mumbai.
Hello, my name is Smyan. I live in California, USA. I study in 5th grade at Eisenhower Elementary School, and I love reading.
Can I now request my friend Manisha to introduce herself?
Hello everyone, I'm Manisha and I'm thoroughly enjoying the book review sessions with all you young readers, and I hope you are also enjoying the worksheets and the sessions. So thank you so much for all the responses.
Thank you. Welcome Nayra, Devansh, Smyan, Prakriti, and a very warm welcome to Manisha. And big thanks. Manisha has been putting together some book review worksheets for each of the books that we review. So the previous book that we reviewed was the most famous Harry Potter. Compared to that, this is probably a less popular book. Had any one of you heard of George's Secret Key to the Universe before we suggested that that is what we were going to be reviewing this month?
No,
Okay.
ma'am, I did not have any idea about the book before we reviewed it.
No, I didn't know who was George.
You didn't know who was George? Well, George is a fictional character. He's not a real character. All right. So, how did you all like the book?
Adventurous.
Interesting.
Educated.
Educative. Okay.
Yeah,
Sometimes the word educative can put off kids, right?
It can put off other kids, but it can't put off me.
All right. But just in the interest of other kids, would you still say it was one of those interesting ish educative?
Yeah.
Curiosity.
Curious. Wonderful.
Since none of them have heard about the book before we have given them the name, I wanted to ask if any one of them were able to make any predictions of like what the book was going to be before they started reading, if they have any prediction made or if they are thinking something, if they have a thought.
Before I read the book and when I read the title, I thought like it must have been of a like an astronaut who went to space and explores there.
Great.
When I heard the title, I did not have the book, so I'm thinking what could it be about? And it is in the title. It is written Secret Key. So I thought that George goes on an adventure with his friends and finds a key, which, which opens a secret door that they have to find, which tells them all the facts about the universe or something like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Basically I read the book and the blurb, both of them. So when I read the blurb, I thought it would be like this, that George has a pig named Freddy. Freddy would accidentally go get access to cosmos and go into the universe, and then George would go and save him.
Oh, okay. So there is a tale is like that, but of course the characters have changed. Okay.
Yeah, the book was interesting before I read it. And like I think Devansh said that when I read the title, um, it automatically urged me to open the book. But before reading, before reading the blurb or any part of the book, I thought the story would be like this: that there is a boy called George who ventures out into space, which is by accident. He doesn't mean to do it.
Great.
Hey Manisha, I know you two read this book just ahead of this book review, and I know it's supposedly a kid's book, but what did you feel when you read this book?
I felt like I was on that virtual reality chairs where you wear your goggles and you sit, and the book is taking me to a ride on the space where every time I was turning a page, I was on a new adventure altogether. So the book was really fantastic to read one.
Naira, can you please summarize the plot of the book in your own words, very, very, very briefly?
So there is a boy called George and his friend Annie. They have to actually venture out into space with the help of their amazing talking computer called Cosmos. And then when they enter space, they get a comet ride on a comet, and they venture to all sorts of exciting places. And when they try going back, they lose connection with Cosmos. Eventually, the connection does come back. Read the book to find out how. But later, when they come back, Eric is really mad at them, obviously. So,
We can leave
Eric.
it at that.
Okay.
While Naira was just telling us about the plot summary, she mentioned something called Cosmos. Can you describe what Cosmos is to someone who's never read the book?
Cosmos is a computer. Everyone gets that. Okay. Now, what Cosmos can do? Cosmos can talk, as Naira mentioned. Now, Cosmos thinks he's the most powerful computer in the world, and he is. Cosmos can open a portal which leads to somewhere in space, in the universe. Okay? And what he can also do, like George and Annie saw the birth and death of a star, so he can also make a window frame like thing to show things that are happening in the universe.
Prakriti, we've been talking about a character called Eric. When Naira was talking about the summary, can you tell us who Eric is?
So, Eric is Annie's father, and he is a space scientist, and he owns a computer called Cosmos, who can make windows to see the universe, and and Cosmos can also make a portal to go into the universe.
Wonderful. Smyan. Every
Yeah.
book has got to have an evil character.
Yeah.
Tell us who the evil character is.
The Dr. Reaper is a really selfish uh, teacher who is also a scientist. He's the teacher of George, and so earlier Eric and Dr. Reaper used to work together, and they used to find out about space, but then Eric started realizing that Dr. Reaper was trying to use Cosmos for himself. And so um, he was eventually not allowed to use Cosmos. And he wants to unlike Eric, he also wants to like explore the far corners of space, and he wants to explore life and go there, but he does not want to bring any humans. So as I said, he's a really selfish guy.
Thanks, all of you, for giving us a very brief peek into the characters and what the plot of the book is. How many stars would you all give this book on a scale of 1 to 5?
Yeah, I would give it 5 stars because it's very adventurous and it also kind of educated me a lot with facts in the book.
I would give it a 5 because any kid would surely enjoy reading the book, and it's also very informative. So while enjoying reading the book, also a lot of facts will come into the mind.
So obviously the book is very interesting through this podcast episode. But if any child, any normal avid reader picks up this book and reads it, he will be a mastermind about space in a fun and easy way, because book uh, the book, when you actually read a little about space, not in the book but otherwise, it can be a little hard to understand, but here the concepts are explained very easily, and like it's very fun.
So, am I to understand you're giving it a 5 on 5?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Devansh?
I would like to give it 4.32 billion stars.
By God, all righty.
In the Milky Way, there are currently 4.32 billion stars also. So I give it 4.32 billion stars.
What a coincidence, huh? 3 facts. The time it takes for light to come from Proxima Centauri to Earth is 4.32 billion light years. And according to Devansh, there are 4.32 billion stars in the universe. And Devansh also accords 4.32 billion stars out of 5 stars for this book. How wonderful! But I have to tell all of you this. One of the authors, right, Stephen Hawking, unfortunately is no longer with us. So we shall try to pass on this information through some telepathic method where perhaps he can read 4.32 billion stars accorded to his book by many of the young readers of today. So I hope all those of you listening to this podcast episode feels compelled to pick up this book, George's Secret Key to the Universe by Stephen Hawking and Lucy Hawking. Hey, now that we've given our listeners a flavor of what the book is about, how about you wear our creative thinking hats and explore ideas based on the book? Manisha, it's all over to you now.
If George's parent, your parent, and Eric's parent, how are they different, or what are the similarities between them? Let's stick to what is the similarities between them first, and then we can talk about how they are different.
They are all responsible of their children.
All of them are like caring to their child.
Same, like they both care for their children.
So one is, they all are hard workers. They all are hard workers and put to their job. And second, they all are friendly, treat us very nicely. And third, they all realize the urge to save the planet.
Fantastic. So let's talk about the differences. I'm sure they would be more interesting.
George's parents don't care about technology. They don't use electricity at all, as they because they say that it's better to live a simple way. But Eric Eric was never like that, and like my parents are tech fans.
Yeah, my parents are very supportive and always encourage me. Whereas George's parents, when he was about to go to the science competition in the school, he tried to convince his father about like if he wins he can get the computer, etc., etc. But his father just said no, and he
Oh,
was
yes.
yeah, I remember.
Even I was really feeling very upset about for George on this, that he really wanted the computer so badly.
So George's parents
all say your parents are more like George's parents or more like Eric?
Um, Eric.
Definitely Eric.
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 Oh, so everybody here is a child of a tech whiz or somebody who embraces technology. Wonderful.
As we were speaking about the characters like Dr. Grieper and Eric, I wanted to know if you think that most people in the real world are more like mysterious like Dr. Reaper or adventurous like Eric. Smyan,
More adventurous like Eric.
great. Prakriti,
I think more people are like Reaper because these days, people have become very greedy and mean. Because as the book said, Reaper stole Cosmos from Eric for his own goods. He didn't want to help the world like Eric did.
As Prakriti said, yes, but now more people are like Reaper, but I actually think still more some, yeah, like most people are like Eric. They want everybody to be inquisitive about everything, like the planet and all.
oh, so everybody wants to know more about the things happening around them.
Yes, be inquisitive.
Now you can imagine if Cosmos is there with you and Cosmos has just opened a portal for you. And if you were George or Annie and had a leap and had a chance to leap through the space, so where would you go first?
I will first be safe and you explore the solar system.
I would want to go to the Sombrero Galaxy.
Which galaxy? Sorry?
Sombrero. Astronomers have said that the Sombrero Galaxy is shaped like a hat. So I want to experience that, and if possible, I want to look for life in the galaxy.
Oh,
I heard there's this new planet discovered and it's called Glee. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but I think it's called Glee S12b. And like, if I got a chance to go there from Cosmos, I definitely go. Could actually support human life.
so it will be like Mars version 2? Something like that?
Yes,
Okay.
a red audience like Mars.
Okay.
Would first travel to the moon actually, because just to the moon, because after I am an expert at it, then I would venture to places like Mars, then gradually Saturn and Jupiter, and then I would if I ever get the chance to go till Jupiter, I would also like to discover the red spot.
Now, since like George and Annie, they had company to travel, whom would you like to take along as a space buddy in this epic adventure to space?
I would obviously like to go with Eric because he basically has explored the whole universe.
I would go with Eric because, like, if there is any problem, like a black hole or something, like in the book, then he seems to know a lot about it.
Okay, what if you had a chance to choose something, someone else, not a character from the book, then who would it be?
Sunita Williams.
Oh, great.
I want almost everyone to know more about space. So I would take 22 more people, and those 22 people is my whole classroom.
Oh, wonderful. The entire classroom is going to go to space and explore the
Hey,
space
she
together.
copied my idea. I thought that they should plan an educational field trip, like a thing for us, and then Eric can be the guide, and with some supply teachers with us, and then the entire classroom goes to space, and then they sit on the comic nicely, and then explore so many places. I love that idea.
Oh, wonderful, Prakriti and Naira. I really wish you can ask your principal to hear this episode, especially when it comes out, so that they get an idea of what the kids are really expecting a field trip as, you know. Oh, wonderful. And yeah, please take me also along as a teacher. I would really love to accompany all of you
Yeah,
and explore more about
of
space.
course.
Wonderful, wonderful.
On that rather exciting note of a school trip to a comet or another planet, here's a quick look at who the authors of this book are. The two authors who've written this book are Stephen Hawking and his daughter Lucy Hawking. Stephen Hawking is, of course, the more famous of the two. He's a scientist who spent most part of his life in a wheelchair. He could neither move nor talk for the most part of his life. If you want to hear a story or two from Stephen Hawking's childhood days, Manisha has carefully curated these for our young listeners. Hope you enjoy them.
Stephen Hawking was a young boy. He had a huge fascination with space and rockets. He loved reading about the stars and imagining traveling to distant planets. But there was one problem. He wasn't exactly a big fan of sports and didn't like running around. One day, Stephen's teacher asked the class what they want to be when they grow up. While many kids answered with astronaut or pilot, Stephen boldly declared that he wanted to be a space explorer. His classmates laughed because they thought it was a silly dream. How are you going to be a space explorer if you don't even like sports? They teased. Years later, Stephen didn't just dream about space, he became one of the greatest scientists in the world, studying the universe and even making a trip into space. He went on a special zero gravity flight where he floated around like an astronaut. It was like being in space for few minutes and he loved every second of it. So Stephen proved that even if you don't like running around, you can still reach for the stars and make your dream come true.
With that, we wrap up this book review, and I hope you enjoyed it and you feel motivated to pick up this science fiction and read it. Our next episode will be once again about current affairs. Thank you so much, Manisha, Devansh, Prakriti, Nayra, and Smyan. Thank you not just for reading the book, but also for filling in the book review worksheets, sharing your thoughts, and joining me in this podcast episode to share what you thought of the book with the rest of the world. Thank you, see you, tada, and bye bye.